Okay, so let's do a Delulu check. And before we go anywhere else with that phrase, I want to say something about it that I think changes how useful this reading can actually be. Delulu, in the way it gets used in tarot spaces, has developed a specific meaning that is worth examining before we apply it to your situation. It tends to get used as shorthand for being delusional about a connection, for seeing things that are not there, for having convinced yourself of a reality that does not exist. And sometimes that is accurate. Sometimes the check genuinely reveals that what someone has been carrying as hope or as intuition is something that the cards cannot confirm in the energy available. But sometimes the check reveals something different. Sometimes it reveals that what someone has been quietly, privately believing is true is actually true. And the question was not whether they were delusional, but whether they were willing to trust what they actually knew. This reading is going to be honest about which version of the story is operating for you, not kind in the soft, tell you what you want to hear way. Honest in the full, this is what I actually see. You deserve the real picture way. The specific question of what is the truth of this connection is the right question, and it deserves the most direct, most accurate, most genuinely useful answer the cards can provide. Let's go. I want to describe what I felt the moment I opened this energy because the first impressions arrived immediately and they were specific enough that I want to share them before we look at a single card. I felt something real, not something enormous or simple or easily categorized, something real. The specific quality of energy that belongs to a connection that has actual substance to it, that is not a construction of hope or a projection of desire onto an empty screen. Something that exists in the actual shared space between two people rather than only in one person's interior. I also felt complexity, not the kind of complexity that means something is wrong or that the truth is disappointing. The specific kind of complexity that belongs to two real people who each carry their own interiority and their own timing and their own relationship to what is between them, and who are not necessarily at the same place in relation to it simultaneously. That combination, something real and something complex, is the foundation of what this reading is going to walk through. The first card arrived in the position I read as the actual honest quality of what exists in this connection, the specific energy that is genuinely present between you and this person when you strip away both the hope and the doubt and look at what is actually there. This card shows two cups extended toward each other in the imagery of genuine mutual recognition. Two people who have actually seen each other. This is not the card of something imagined or projected or hoped into existence. This is the card of something real between two people, of a quality of recognition that has established itself at the level where genuine things establish themselves, rather than at the surface level of impression or wish. What I am reading in this card about the actual truth of the connection is something I want to say directly. This is real. What you have been sensing is not a construction. There is something genuine in the space between you and this person that has the specific, grounded, actually there quality of something that exists rather than something that is only wished for. The cups extend toward each other in this card. Not one cup extended toward someone who is turned away. Both directions. Something is present on both sides of this. I also want to speak to what this card does not tell us. because I think the honesty of the reading requires both what it confirms and what it leaves open. The presence of something real between two people does not automatically produce a specific outcome. Real things can be real and still be complicated, can be real and still be in an uncertain place in terms of what happens next, can be real on both sides and still have each side at a different relationship to acting on it. The card is confirming the reality. The next cards are going to tell us what the shape of that reality actually looks like. The second card arrived in the position representing his side of this connection, what is actually happening in him. And I want to be as precise as I can be about this because I think it is the question most of you came here to have answered honestly. This card shows a figure in the specific posture of someone who is holding something carefully and privately, not moving with it yet, in the quiet, contained quality of someone who has something significant in their possession and who has not yet decided what to do with it or whether the moment for doing something with it has arrived. The water element of this suit governs genuine feeling and the authentic interior life, and the stillness in this card is not the stillness of nothing being present. It is the specific stillness of something very present that has not yet found its movement. What I am reading in this card about what is happening in him is something I want to name specifically. He has feelings, real ones. They are being held carefully for reasons that may include timing or circumstances or his own relationship to the vulnerability that genuine feeling requires when you bring it into the open. The holding is not absence. It is the specific quality of someone who has something real and who is in the particular position of not yet expressing rather than not feeling. I also want to say something honest about what this card does not guarantee. Feelings that are held and not expressed have a variety of possible outcomes. Some held feelings eventually find their expression and arrive in the space between two people in a genuine, direct, this is what is true form. Some held feelings remain held for longer than the situation can support, and the person holding them arrives through inaction at a different kind of outcome than they might have intended. The card is telling me that what he holds is real. It is not telling me that he has made a decision about what to do with it. That decision is genuinely in process. I want to speak to something additional about the holding quality of this card because I think the precision matters for where this reading is going. There is a difference between someone who is holding something because they are still working out whether the feeling is real, and someone who is holding something because they know the feeling is real and have not yet resolved the question of what to do with that knowing. The specific quality of this card in the context of the first card that confirms something genuinely real in the connection suggests the second category. He is not still deciding whether he feels something. He has been deciding what to do about the fact that he does. That distinction is important for understanding what the holding means and what might move it. Let me pause here for a moment, Virgo, because I think this is the specific part of the reading where the Delulu check actually matters. The reading so far has confirmed something real on both sides, something genuine in the connection, something actually present in him. And I know that for some of you, hearing those things confirmed will feel like permission to continue doing exactly what you have been doing in relation to this person, which may include waiting for him to act on what is there, interpreting his silence as processing rather than as disinterest, maintaining the hope and the investment in something that has not yet produced clear, direct, unambiguous evidence of itself in the actual, external, visible world between you. I want to speak to the difference between trusting a genuine intuition and organizing your life around a feeling that has not yet been confirmed in the ways that matter for your actual daily lived experience. Something can be real and not yet be available. Something can be genuinely present and still require you to be honest about whether you can afford to wait for it to become what it might be. The Delulu check is not always about whether the feeling is real. Sometimes it is about whether the waiting is sustainable, about whether what you are investing in this connection is proportionate to what you are receiving from it in the actual material, concrete quality of how your life feels right now. Both things deserve honest examination. The third card arrived in the position representing the most important thing this reading can offer you, the specific piece of insight that is the truest and most useful truth available about where you are in relation to this connection. And I want to give this card the full weight it deserves. This card shows a figure who has emerged from a difficult interior period into a quality of clarity and personal authority, holding a sword toward an open sky in the specific posture of someone who has arrived at a clear knowing after a period of murky processing. This is the card of mental clarity, of seeing something accurately rather than through the distorting lens of either hope or fear, of the specific quality of knowing that arrives when you stop either inflating or minimizing what is actually in front of you and simply look at it as it is. What I am reading in this card as the most important truth available is something I want to name carefully and with the full respect for your intelligence and your genuine capacity to handle the truth that this card demands. The clarity you are being offered here is not a clarity about whether to hope or not hope. It is a clarity about yourself, about what you actually want, about what you actually need in a connection in order for it to be genuinely sustaining rather than primarily something you are sustaining through the quality of your own hoping and your own investment. About the specific, honest question of whether this connection, in its current form, in the actual way it is showing up in your real life right now, is meeting you. I also want to speak to what this card's emerging quality says about the period you are in. The figure in this card has been through something and has arrived on the other side of it with clarity. This is not the clarity of someone who has not yet been through the difficult material. It is the clarity that belongs to someone who has. You have been through some form of the difficult material with this connection. And the clarity that is available now on the other side of that is the most honest and most useful thing available to you. The fourth card arrived in the position I read as what the Delulu check is actually asking you to look at directly, the specific dimension of the situation that deserves the clearest, most unflinching examination. And this card is the one I think some of you most need to hear. This card shows a great wheel in its turning, the ascending and descending figures, the governing principle at its apex. The wheel does not operate according to what we want or what we hope or what we have invested. It operates according to what is actually true at the structural level. And what the wheel is pointing toward in this position is something that I want to name plainly. The outcome of this connection is genuinely open, not in the way of nothing being real between you, in the way of genuine structural openness, where what happens next is not predetermined and is not primarily a function of the quality or intensity of what you feel or what you have hoped. It is a function of choices and timing and what each person in this connection is willing to do with what is real between them. What this card is asking you to look at directly is the quality of your agency, not in the sense of doing more or trying harder or finding the right way to make something happen that has not yet happened. But in the deeper sense of taking genuine ownership of what you want and what you will and will not accept in terms of how a connection shows up in your life, the wheel turns. It does not wait indefinitely for any particular outcome. And the Delulu check that this card is offering is specifically about whether you are waiting for the wheel to produce a particular result or whether you are actually actively in relationship with the genuine options available to you. The fifth card arrived in the position of what is most true about who you are in this dynamic, the specific quality you bring to this connection that is worth acknowledging directly and completely. This card shows a figure at the pinnacle of the water element's fullest expression, completely self-possessed, in the quiet authority of someone who knows what they feel and who carries that knowing with the specific, settled quality of genuine emotional depth that has arrived at its most complete form. The Queen of Cups, fully inhabited, genuinely real, bringing something to every dynamic she enters that is simply and completely herself. This card in this position is describing you. And what I want to say about it in the context of this Delulu check is specific and important. The quality you bring to this connection, the genuine depth, the warmth, the specific quality of your caring and your attentiveness, and the real investment you have been making in something you felt was worth investing in is not small. It is not something that should be indefinitely available to something that is not meeting it with proportionate investment and clarity. The Delulu check, in its most honest form, is not asking whether what you feel is real. It is asking whether what you are giving is being received and returned with the quality it deserves. The sixth and final card arrived in the position of what is genuinely available to you going forward. The honest picture of what exists in the actual, real, near future landscape of this connection. And I want to describe it with full honesty because you came here for the truth, and the truth is what I want to give you. This card shows a chariot in complete, directed forward motion, driven by someone who has resolved any internal ambivalence and who is now simply moving in the direction they have decided on. The water element governs this card, which tells me the movement is in the domain of genuine feeling and genuine connection, rather than in the practical or intellectual domain. The direction of the movement is specific. It is not circular or undirected. It is going somewhere. What I am sensing in this card about what is genuinely available going forward is something I want to say with both warmth and clarity simultaneously. Movement is available, genuine movement in the emotional domain towards something real. Whether that movement is this person arriving at you with the fullness of what they have been holding, or whether it is you arriving at a fuller and more complete relationship to your own genuine knowing about what you want and what you are willing to build your life around, or whether it is both of those things happening in the same window. The card is telling me that motion is the energy of the near future rather than stillness. What is not available is more indefinite waiting without movement. The chariot does not wait. Something is going to move, and you have more agency in the direction and quality of that movement than the dynamic may have made apparent. I want to name something about what the chariot specifically requires in terms of what you bring to the period ahead, because I think it is the most practically useful thing this reading can offer. The chariot is driven, not pulled, not pushed from outside, driven from the interior, by someone who is actively in relationship with their own direction and their own intention, rather than waiting for the landscape to produce a direction for them. What the reading is asking of you, in the specific way of the chariot, is that you be in genuine relationship with your own direction. Not to force something to happen that is not ready, not to manufacture a dramatic moment of confrontation with what has been unclear, but to be genuinely, actively, authentically in relationship with the question of what you want your life to look like and what quality of connection you are building it around. That relationship to your own direction is what the chariot represents, and it is the specific quality that makes the chariot move, regardless of whether every external condition has been perfectly resolved. Let me close with what I think the Delulu check has actually revealed, because I think you deserve a direct, honest summary rather than a reading that leaves you to piece together what it has actually said. What you have been sensing is real. The connection is genuine. There is something actually present on both sides. You are not delusional about the existence of what is there. What requires honest examination is the question of whether what is there is being expressed and developed in a way that is actually sustaining your life, or whether you have been doing the primary work of sustaining the hope of this connection while the other side remains in a position of not yet moving. The Chariot card in the final position is the most important card in this reading for that question. It is not pointing toward a period of more waiting. It is pointing toward movement. Your work going into the period this reading is describing is not to do more hoping or more investing in something that has not yet arrived in full. It is to be the chariot yourself, to be in the clear, directed, this is the quality of connection I am available for forward motion of someone who knows what they are worth and who is moving toward the version of their life that reflects that knowing. Whether this person joins you in that motion is genuinely open, but the motion itself is yours and it is available right now. If this Delulu check landed somewhere honest and specific and real for you, if it named something you have been needing to hear directly rather than gently, please share it with a Virgo who might need the same quality of honest reflection on something they have been carrying, and leave a comment. I want to hear what this reading confirmed and what it asks you to look at that you may have been looking away from. I read every single comment and I hold what is shared in this space with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, you are not delusional. What you sense is real, and you deserve to have real show up for you in the full, visible, I am here, this is what I feel and I am not hiding it way that real is supposed to show up. That is not a delusion. That is a standard, and you are allowed to have it